All right, welcome everyone who's watching this video. I've sent this to the 12s, 11s and 10s. I'm going to be making a sourdough starter today. And the reason why I'm making this is because the next video that I'm going to be posting up is actually a sourdough hot cross bun recipe. And it'd be good to maybe use the sourdough starter in your hot cross buns to kind of create something a little bit different. So for those of you who were in my class a couple of weeks ago, we actually made hot cross buns in year 11. So we did some sourdough starter together and we made the recipe. Year 12s, you did it last year, those of you who were in my class, and year 10s, you'll most likely be doing this next year, but just as a bit of an extension for you, and for those of you who have already made it, just something that you can do a little bit extra for Easter, maybe for your families at home, your caregivers, maybe even your friends and grandparents and people who are outside of your home. You might want to be able to leave them maybe a 6-pack of hot cross buns on their doorstep. And this sourdough starter is really easy to make, just a little bit of maintenance. But it can also be used not just in hot cross buns, but also in pizza, and pancakes, and breads, and a variety of other things. The reason why I'm showing you as a demonstration is just to show you how easy it is to really make sourdough starter. Okay? The main thing is just keeping track of it for the first couple of days, just to be able to let it do its work, activating the yeast, getting that fermentation happening over the first couple of days, and then after that you pretty much just have to add a couple of things into the sourdough starter to get it going. So I'm using a little bit more of a bigger jar. You can probably use something about half the size. This is probably about 1.5 litres, okay, jar. You can use something a little bit bigger, a bit smaller. It doesn't really matter, but I wouldn't probably go too much smaller than probably your 800 mils, okay, jar. So this is one that we've kind of washed out and sterilised. If you want to sterilise it really well, you can either soak it in boiling hot water or boil it on the stove. You can put your jar in an oven, okay, for about 5 to 10 minutes. Or you can simply just use some dishwashing liquids and some nice hot water just to wash it out, especially if it's got any other odours from previous products or things that were stored in the jar. Okay, so that's all clean, ready to go. And that's what we'll be doing our sourdough starter in today. I've attached a recipe to this email that I've sent you with this link. And I'll also post the recipe underneath this video, okay, as one of the comments. But I've got things ready already in these little bowls here and the jug. These ingredients we're going to be using. We're going to be using some instant dry yeast, some Greek yoghurt, but you can use a buttermilk as well if you'd like. We've got some just plain flour and then some tepid water. So some nice warm water, not at boiling point, but you still want it to be quite hot. Okay. If it's boiling water, then it's going to kill that yeast. When we have that bit more of a tepid warm, you can still put your finger in and you can feel that it's quite warm, almost to a hot stage, but you can still bear the temperature. That's a good temperature for activating yeast. Okay. Now, like I said, really easy recipe, the initial kind of stages of it. I'm just going to be using a wooden spoon to actually stir the mixture in the jar. But to scoop it out, I'm using just a tablespoon. You can also use just like a regular tablespoon, but this is a soup spoon. You can use like a dessert version of this, the oval one, just to be able to get all the flour out of the corners, the edges of the jar, to be able to make sure everything's combined well. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing, really easy. In your recipe, you'll see that you've got all the ingredients that you need, which is your 1/2 cup of plain flour, okay, which I'll just add straight into the jar. Okay, so regularly I would have just measured out the cup and put it straight in, but just so it's all prepared, I'm just going to be putting it in. I'm making a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Alright, so 1/2 cup of flour. Our next thing we've got is 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. Okay, so we'll be adding that in as well. Okay, so that's already pre-done as well in the little bowl here, yeast. All right, I've got my warm water here as well, which is 1/2 cup of warm water, tepid water, and then I've also got my 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt all ready to go as well. Okay, now it's nothing too spectacular or different. You're literally just adding it all in. I'm going to give this a good mix. So the main thing we're doing is just making sure it's all well combined. You don't have any flour or anything stuck on the edges. It's all been well and truly done. All right, I just realised that 1/2 amount of water, so I'm just going to top it out again. So I had a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to need another 1/2 cup. So if you you want to compare it to something, once it's completely been combined, you want to have it almost like a pancake mixture, right? So a good pancake mixture. So you'll be able to kind of have it going off your spoon and it's still a good amount of thickness. Right, so once it's combined, you can then pop your lid on and you can eat to leave for 24 hours. Okay, so right now it is 12:30 p.m. Okay, that means 12:30 p.m. tomorrow I will add some extra ingredients to this. So what's recommended is 1 cup of flour and half a cup of warm water, again added to the jar. Okay, so tomorrow, after 24 hours, so 12:30 p.m. tomorrow, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to add my extra amount of flour and my extra amount of water. Okay, and then I'm going to close the lid of the jar again. And what I'll do is I'll keep it for another 24 hours. So that means on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. I will have a look. I'll open it up and it should have a bit of like a fermenting kind of a little bit of a sour sort of odour to it. And when it's at that kind of stage, I mean it's ready. So what you do is put it in the fridge, and then every week you just top it up with a 1/4 cup of warm water and then a 1/2 cup of flour. Okay, every week, and that'll be on your recipe as well. Okay, so it's pretty easy. I recommend putting a little bit of a sticky note or a bit of a piece of paper on top just to remind you when to add the extra things into it. Leaving it on the bench somewhere you can see so you can fill it up, and then in the fridge somewhere where you can see it as well with when to add the extra things into it. All right, thanks for watching.